pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tom, we've got a couple of changes to the agenda.
I'm sorry?
A couple of changes to the agenda.
Okay.
At 9:30, we'll have a representative from the appraiser's office for bid opening on vehicles.
Okay.
And then at 9:35 or 9:40, just as soon as that appraiser's office is done, Sheriff Randy Rogers will be here for a payroll notice.
For what?
A payroll notice,
Okay.
and that's all that we have so far.
Okay. All right.
Those just came in this morning, so.
First thing to be approved in the minutes from Monday, November 23rd. Donna's moved. Bob seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Well, there'll be minutes from the other two.
They're there. I just handed them out to you this morning there. I think you must have been aside.
Oh, okay, sorry. So, we go in order here. The motion to approve the minutes from Tuesday, November 24th.
I'll make that motion.
Tim moved.
I'll second.
Bob seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Need a motion to approve the minutes from Wednesday, November 25th. Jason Doctor's Day.
I'll move.
Bob moved,
All second.
Tim seconded, all in favor.
Aye.
Consent agenda. Like, on the request of the Coffee County Housing Authority Board, moved to authorize and direct the chairman to sign real estate mortgage release, acknowledging satisfaction in full debt secured by Daryl Bowen, Lavina A. Bowen, physical address 711 Sanders Street, Burlington, Kansas, lots 4 and 5, and block 12, the Shades addition to the city of Burlington, Coffee County, Kansas, according to the recorded plat thereof. Book volume M294, page 613 through 614 of the records of the registered deeds for Coffee County, Kansas. I'll move.
I'll second it.
Don seconded, all in favor.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Like that takes us to Wayne. Morning, Wayne.
Good morning.
We're ready when you are.
Okay. Good morning.
Morning.
Can't lay off the cherry pie. Too much Thanksgiving. Too many days for Thanksgiving, that's what it is. As I have no motions this week, I'll probably make up for it here next week. What I'd like to have would be, if the commission has time, would be to schedule about an hour, and that would be either towards the end, however you'd like to do it,
Next week?
next week,
Okay.
next week.
Okay.
And the purpose of that, or the reason for it, is one is to go over the projects, our 2021 projects. One is to go over projects that we've completed, just an overview for 2020. And then also is start having the discussion for the 2021 projects. We normally go on basically a road trip and go out and take a look throughout the county. I would think that would not be something we'd want to do this time, everybody in the same vehicle, unless you want to.
We wouldn't all have to take the same vehicle if everybody wants to go see these hands-on. I mean, we can take their 3 vehicles, we don't have to be, depending on what everybody else would like to do.
Well, have that discussion then, if that would be something you'd like to do, and then we can schedule that to do a road trip. Or otherwise, what I have is, I do have photos of a lot of projects that we have finished, and I can put it up like a PowerPoint and show you the projects we have. And then the next one would be to have the maps in front as far as proposed chip seal asphalt projects and have that discussion. And then what I do is towards the end of the month of December, then I would have where we'd have a motion, have a public hearing or public discussion for the public to come in and talk about the roads as well, or at least allow that opportunity. And so that would be something where I would have at least an hour here next week if we sit it on.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for the heads up on
Okay. No road permits, 1 zoning permit. Landfill, just some discussion on the landfill with a construction zone. We had some, basically we had rain that prevented us from being able to finish the tires, as far as burying the tires. And so with that, we're still working on that. We're also working on adding the filter rock. As you can see, Assistant Fleet will be working there this week. So we're adding the second half of the filter rock as well. So as I'm moving right into construction zone, as you see, Assistant Fleet is also doing some ditching, still having Matthias Lake projects and seeding as well. We're also pulling shoulders, something I reported here last week. We're going to start around on 12th Road. And so we're going to be adding material, using basically the shoulder plow as well, using our blade, different locations as we have, and try to pull up the rock that we can, and then add rock where we need to. And at least start on 12th and start working our way to the plant road and other roads as we can with weather permitting. Boom mowing countywide, we're at least about 80% complete countywide. We've had some positive reports coming back even from the citizens of the county that has contacted us and basically have made positive comments about the MOVAC. We have been fortunate this year with the weather we've had that allowed us basically to be able to get back there. As you know, it's been dry, it works both ways, sometimes not necessarily good, but in other instances, being dry allows us to be able to get back to the right way that we have been back there for a couple of years. And we're doing sign maintenance at this point. One sign that you're gonna see, this just basically developed here the last couple of weeks, but I had a photo confirmation over the weekend, is we actually have some horse and buggies out on our roads. So we're gonna be placing those type of signs out there. Just over there by Angus and 12th is where you're gonna see these. So that's it. That's what I have for construction zone at this point. So.
Wayne, I was approached and I told them I'd bring it up. Our lights that we have on Old 50, are they according to KDOT or some regulation that requires the way they're set up?
We have lights on every 5th cone, and every cone is set approximately 45 feet apart. And so we do have that. It is according to the MUTCD. The lights are optional, but since they are basically a traffic device that's being utilized at night, that's the reason why we're using the lights. instead of just depending solely on the reflectivity of the cover.
You know, I just told this person that I would bring it up. Their complaint was that, at night, especially in the rain, those lights, can blind the driver. And that they almost hit a deer, and I just said I'd bring it up.
Okay.
I didn't know if there's anything we could do about that, or if I have to do it the way it is.
At this point, I wouldn't think there's anything we can do on that one. But, okay, that would be all I have, Tom.
Okay.
All right.
Wayne, I noticed out there next to Matthias Lake, that property to the south, which I think is owned by Andy
King,
King.
uh-huh,
There's 2 tractors in there cleaning that ditch out through that 180,
okay.
and I'm sure they're doing that on their own. Are they gonna move, have you talked to them, are they gonna move on over to the middle of that section and where it goes straight south and try to clean that one out, which is actually the township's responsibility? I haven't talked to Andy, I haven't talked to him for a long time, but
Is that not also the track that Suresic is, leasing or farming as well?
gosh,
Dallas?
no, the Winds farms it. Winds farms Andy King ground.
Okay. There was some discussion about.
Tim Winds, I couldn't think of his name.
Okay. There was some discussion about the local farmers in the area, actually gonna start possibly cleaning. It was from 9.5 going north, at least for that 80. But I don't believe there's any firm agreements at this point. But there has been some discussion about local landowners, taking on that responsibility.
I talked to Andy here a year ago, because he bought that 240 there, that 80 and a quarter. I talked to him a year ago, and I know he's wanting to get pretty aggressive about cleaning those ditches out, and he's willing to cooperate and do some of it himself, which he's already started.
Mhm.
If you don't mind, I might visit with that township board and see if they would like to get more involved in it, since we've got a producer that's doing a lot of work. Hopefully, that would encourage them to do a little bit. But I'll visit with those 2 township board members.
Anything we can do would help out. As I say, there's 3 phases to the Matthias Lake project. And each
But
one
this
of
is not part of it.
No, well, it is a phase. It is one of the phases that would have to be cleaned out. And each one of them are independent, but it's gonna take all 3 phases to basically correct the problem as much as it can be corrected naturally.
They're doing a great job cleaning that angle ditch out.
But that's where we would be at is one is the ditch efforts that we have within our right of way. That's our phase 1. Phase 2 is gonna be the Matthias Lake project, and that would be Matthias Lake itself, and that would be, controlling the water inflow and outflow of the Matthias Lake. And then the 3rd phase would actually be that ditch itself. That's not on county right of way, and a lot of discussions had up to this point, with township to basically clean that out. But each one of them are independent, but it would take all 3 phases to, bring that to the best possible solution, that we could in the Matthias Lake area. All right, that's all I have.
I have.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Wayne.
Jeremy, got any power appraisers office coming out?
Yeah, might as well, Susan. Thank you.
Hey, Jeremy, been on, quickly this morning, you want to come on down? Okay. You want to come down, in case she wants to call in or something? Okay, great. You on the way?
Okay, which probably run a little ahead for Randy too.
Yeah, I let him know already.
Okay, all right, thank you. proud of myself. I was all these desserts and whatnot. I kept my blood sugar level down all weekend.
Good. I'm glad I don't have that problem.
At least we didn't have Australia's weather. Friday, 74 degrees, Saturday was 105, yesterday was 104, and today it's 74 again.
You know, we get some wide fluctuations, but they're normally not that high in temperature. I tell you, this weather seems like there's so many different variations of it anymore, it's unreal.
Morning.
Morning.
Are you ready for me right now? Okay. So do you have the bids, Nancy?
I didn't get them. She had to go to her office.
Oh, but she had to go to her office. Okay, well, I thought they were in your
Oh,
office.
no,
and stuff.
no, yeah, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
hold on just a minute, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
Anybody? John says he has some questions about the wage study thing. Anybody else? You do?
Yeah, I think we really need to go through and discuss some of that stuff.
Tell you what, there's a lot in there to discuss, because it's such a major project of our county, and it's gonna impact us for several years to come. There's a lot of, I think there's a lot of things that need to be discussed. Time frame on that, you know, you may have to get back and forth with Lisa, you know, for Denise to get everything entered into it. I don't know what her time frame would be for sure, because it technically wouldn't take place until the end of January as far as wage changes, but she probably needs to know by mid-December, I would imagine.
I think that was a discussion we had last week, but,
I don't think that her intent, and my intent wasn't anyway, that she does it, hands it to us and we approve it. I think she realized there's probably a lot of questions,
I'm sure she expects a question.
and there should be.
do you want to set up a special day to do that? Or you want
But whether the department heads, I'm sure, has had an opportunity to look at all of it. And I did ask Tom before the meeting, and he's had an opportunity to look at it. You know, whether the department heads ought to bring their thoughts to us. To me, that probably ought to be a part of it. We're in this together as a team. This needs to be a team effort because of the major decisions. This is gonna be moving ahead. And it's 30% of our budget, or 35%, I'm not sure. There's 7.8 million in wages, but that's net, that doesn't include gross. So it's probably 35% of our overall budget. So it's an important part of our budget. I think we need to spend a lot of time on it, and department heads ought to be a part of that team.
If the department heads bring their concerns to us, it might answer a bunch of our
Yeah.
concerns.
I know we requested it get passed out, I'm assuming it did get passed out to all department heads. Well, I said it's fine. We're ready.
Do I open these?
Yeah.
Okay. This is for the Chevy Colorado that we own, the county owns. From Cromartie.
This to replace it,
Pardon me?
is this to replace it?
Actually, I haven't even looked at it, so. It would be to replace it, yes. So this would be to replace the 2005 Ford Ranger in Colorado, but here, oh, it's gonna replace it with a 2021 Chevy Colorado. And the bid, they're allowing $2,500 on the 2005 Ford Ranger. And they're allowing, so we have a 2007 Colorado that we're also trading in. They're allowing, can't quite read it. Looks like 4,300 on it for a total trade-in value of 7,000. The bid amount was 24,950 minus 7,000. And the total bid price is 17,950. That was for a 2021 Chevy Colorado.
The 2,500 with Ford, you said,
2,500 for our Ford Ranger.
and 43 for the Colorado?
Yeah.
That doesn't come to 7.
That's how you know.
Can you read that?
68.
7,000.
68.
I'm sorry, 68.
Well-
68.
I was breaking it down and I
4,500 per second.
It's 2,500?
4,500.
Okay, I guess it's 4,500 for the,
Colorado.
for our 2007 Colorado and 2,500 for our 2005 Ranger.
There we go.
Are we trading 2 for 1 then?
Yes, looks like it.
And you don't need 2 vehicles then?
Two's what she asked for,
Yeah, she's,
and two's what she was getting bids on.
Up top.
I think we need some more information.
I don't know, we've got 2 different envelopes here.
What's the other one say, from who? Maybe they misunderstood. Now take a look at that one, please. May I take a look at the one?
Sure.
We opened, please, sir?
think I'm more confused than I was. What I've got.
Yeah, the invitation to bid does request the bid for two 2020s or 2021 mid-size pickups. And this does give a trade-in value for both vehicles, but it only reflects one bought vehicle. So
It looks to me like they need to go back and do some more discovery on what is taking place and what's being projected.
I assume one vehicle, it doesn't say. It just says a 2021 Chevy Colorado extended cab four-door. So I would assume one.
For 17,000, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we need some additional clarification.
I'm gonna recommend, yeah, that we
We need
table
some more
this
clarification,
until.
my opinion, we need some more clarification on what the bid's actually.
Right, and
She was gonna come back next week and make her
she should be back next
Okay.
Monday.
Yeah, okay. All right. Here's this other one. Thank you. Yeah, she was wanting two vehicles, we only got a bid on one, then. But to redo something.
Yeah,
Does the other one reflect two vehicles or just one? Just
They're
one?
alternate, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll wait for her to get back.
since these have been open, what do I do?
Just
Take it back.
back to con, yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Randy?
Yeah. Tom's here this morning. I didn't recognize him, he had that mask on, so. But, what we need to do is a payroll notice for Tom. Part of the requirements under the statutes that, every new sheriff, must attend the new sheriff's school, that begins December 6th and runs through the 18th. And as part of that, then the county is obligated to pay him while he attends that school and provide transportation and all that.
That school got canceled
Oh, it did?
due to COVID.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I just got an email and said that it's got canceled.
Well, never mind then. But, so are they gonna do anything online or?
They're talking about doing it 1 week in the fall and 1 week in the spring. They're not gonna do anything on remote.
Really?
Yep, I sent an email and they didn't like that response.
Uh-oh. Well, so we don't need to do the payroll notice on that. I think at some point, I don't know, Tom, you'd already made plans, what,
21st.
21st, your last day at
21st should be my first day here.
the 21st. So what we're gonna do is, as part of the transition, is I'm gonna work with Tom and we're gonna begin the transition with Tasha retiring and some changes in personnel. Him and I is gonna begin working together in order to have a seamless, hopefully seamless transition so that the service to the citizens isn't interrupted and the sheriff's office can go on and keep functioning and stuff. So it would be my recommendation that during that transition that we go ahead and do a seasonal temporary position for him and go that way, compensate him during that transitional period. So was that any objection or
I don't
anything?
have any objection. I mean, we're basically starting his salary on the 21st of December, so.
Yeah, what I did is we could still go ahead and use the same payroll notice that I did for a seasonal temporary position as a deputy sheriff. And we can use that payroll notice until he takes office on the 11th. And then he would just, they'd do a new payroll notice that would then supersede this one. What do you think?
Is this something that you need to coordinate with Tom before you get involved in making a presentation, Randy?
We just,
Well, you're talking about,
You've already discussed it.
We've already talked about it.
so you and Tom have already talked about.
Yeah, we've already had some discussions.
Compensation level and everything.
Do what?
The compensation level.
Yeah, we talked about the fact that back when we talked, we thought he was gonna go to the new sheriff's school. And we talked about that, and then we talked about, the transition and being able to transition everything over. And that way he could go ahead and end his employment over in Garnett and start working over here and start going through policies or whatever he thinks he needs to do to be able to transition and have it ready to go on January 11th, of course, with the holidays in there and all that, as well as with the budgets and any carryover, that sort of thing. So we wanted to try to keep it as smooth and seamless as possible to transition on over, but him and I did talk about that.
As long as you're both comfortable. I
Yeah.
have no-
It would be my recommendation that way he doesn't go without a paycheck and we can move on.
Alright.
So we'll just use that payroll notice then.
Yep.
You won't need the statutes then. I had attached the statute to it. But we can do that.
We need a motion to approve that
Oh.
payroll notice.
I left it upstairs. I did make
You already signed it.
Is he there?
I did actually do a motion and then I left it upstairs. So, the motion would be move to approve payroll notice for Thomas L. Johnson, seasonal temporary deputy sheriff's position, in order to transition the sheriff's office, as sheriff-elect.
An effective date 11/30/2020. And LED 6
Yeah,
at
that way.
26.03 per hour.
I'll make that motion, but I'll change that to say approve to authorize the chairman to sign the payroll notice.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'll second.
Bob moved, Fred seconded, all in favor.
Aye.
There you go. And along that line, I have not submitted anything, but something that you guys will need to negotiate with Tom is the lake director's position. I don't know how that goes in with Lisa's study and all that, but that's between you guys and Tom, but I will be doing my resignation by the contract. You know, I've got to give you guys a written resignation effective January 10th. And then he'll take office on the 11th. So if at some point you guys, I'll stay out of it and stuff, but you guys will need to negotiate whatever you're gonna do with him. And I didn't see it on the new classification, on the new wage thing, so
No, I didn't either.
I don't know if it's because it's a contract position or what, I don't know.
Probably
But,
a unique thing to begin with, so.
yeah, so, on a good note, we were able to open the lake this weekend on Friday and Saturday. I had an employee that could work, and then, with the help of one of my jailers that was on days off, she, assisted him, out there as a gate attendant. And so we were able to open up Friday and Saturday. We did have some usage. We didn't open up yesterday because of the winds and stuff, and we were back up to full operations today. Got everybody back, so hope it was, at least we got a little bit, you know, Friday and Saturday, we were able to open it up and got some usage, so worked out okay. Do you need that? All right, I don't have anything else. Pretty painless today.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Randy.
Just wait around, round down. I guess with that being said, we need to ask Tom, is that cost on the lake thing, while we got some spare time?
Always here. Yeah, we could,
You want to come up here, Tom? I guess we got some spare time here, so we're wondering what your thoughts are on the lake patrol supervisory thing.
That's a good question. As a matter of fact, as Randy's walking out, I said, should I come down and talk to you? To be truthful, I haven't given it any thought. That was the least of my worries was, transitioning over to the lake, and I didn't know what your decision would be, so I'd like a chance to talk to Randy today and see what it encompasses and then get back with you if that's okay.
That's fine.
So, I guess that's where I'm at this point.
Okay,
Okay?
all right,
Thank you, gentlemen.
thank you.
Later.
Thank you, Tom.
Donna contacted Wade to see what he might have for Roundtable. I'm sure he has something.
Yeah, usually he didn't.
Yeah, so we'll start with Andy.
I don't think there's anything I have this week.
Nothing this week.
Do we have interviews this afternoon?
No.
No.
No?
Next week.
Next week, next week. I think so.
I have nothing else.
I haven't.
The only thing we discussed it very briefly on the weight study. We need to set up my understanding, in my opinion, need to set up some time to sit down and discuss that. And I assume that most of that have been an open session, although some of them probably be involved in executive session. But with this being a major change, although it's still a step program, like the old one, and I don't know how long it's been in place, but it's been in place a number of years. But I think we need to do a lot of reviewing, probably visit with Lisa if we got some questions, and I'm sure we got department heads. There's probably got some questions. I'd like to know what some of their input is. They probably need to respond to some of their employees at some. There's lots and lots of information in. Some of it I think has got a plus, but some of it I think we need some clarification on.
Well, I know that was been some of the concerns that some people were maxed out. There was no place further for them to go, and that eliminated that concern, so I saw that as a positive.
But they're still gonna be maxed out at 15, where now they're maxed out at about 9 or 10, because they're gonna fit back in, to an H or an AM or whatever category they're in, they're gonna jump in. So the max out is still there, but it's a little bit further out,
Exactly.
a little bit further out. So,
I know when we started this, we said we pretty much stand behind it when it was done, so. I mean, not to say anybody didn't worth anything, but I mean, it is for a purpose. So.
I know when the discussion first came up, it appeared that 2 or 3 of the employees were looking at, the study might come out at a higher wage level than what we currently were at. Well, most of it's at a level no higher, and some of it's at a lower level. And so we haven't heard anything back from any of the employees that, I'm not sure the wage study came in at the level that they were hoping it would come into. But that's just my opinion also.
Yeah, I haven't heard any.
Because I haven't heard nothing from anybody, I've got a department head that I missed talking to last week, and she's also gone today. So, and then I did have another department head talk, but. And the time frame is pretty important. I totally understand, what we're gonna need, what Denise is gonna be going through.
Yeah.
In the study, Lisa pointed out that the expected cost of this to the county, everybody put in their grade level and in their step level, would have an increased cost to the county of approximately $80,000.
Mm-hmm.
With the potential for another 20. Whether she has put our employees into those levels or not, I don't know. But I think one of the questions I got, how has she arrived at those levels if she doesn't know where they're gonna fit, and if Denise doesn't know where they're all gonna fit? And I was gonna talk to Denise this morning, but she was tied up, so I haven't talked to Denise
She's not
either.
here,
I'm
okay?
sorry,
She's not here today.
that's the reason I couldn't tell whether she's there or not, so those are some of the questions that I think we need to have some clarification on.
Well, we probably need to set up time, I guess, to meet with everyone, department heads and us. Sooner the better, I assume.
Yeah. I think sooner the better now. Wayne asked for an hour for next week. And we do have interviews starting, I think, at 1 o'clock, although I haven't looked at that schedule for a week. So this meeting on the wages might take an hour or two. It's gonna take some time.
I think there's, besides wages, I think there's other things in here also
There is.
that need to be discussed.
Yeah, there's some other things that need clarification on.
Well, it doesn't have to be on a Monday either.
No, if we get stuff, it'd be good to keep it on Monday, but, we can shoot for it for next week, see how we come along.
So far, you don't have much.
Wayne would be on the program.
Wayne, I mean, you've got Whitney Dameron coming in for an update. Coffee County Transportation to come and discuss fare boxes, the fare, that you guys talked about. And then Wayne, and I don't see any of that taking too often.
Neither one of them want to take over 15 minutes other than Wayne, because we're already aware of what the transportation is.
So we could say 9:30, department head salary meeting. And then Wayne would be last.
Okay, all right. Anybody got any thoughts, objections? Do an hour for that. You can take a break and then do Wayne.
And then do
You
Wayne.
could target for an hour, so.
Oh, good.
So it is, and
Let everybody know.
thank you.
The only thing else, it was brought up last week about economic development. And there was another applicant that we had that I'd forgotten about. That was an applicant that was talking about part-time, if we would consider part-time. Of course, that hasn't been discussed. And then our first candidate that we talked to, whether we need to revisit with that candidate. That candidate to me came across very professional. And I wouldn't mind taking another look at him if he would still be available and entertain coming in. Economic development hasn't been a real plus for the county for a number of years, as I understand it. But we've got so much to offer in this county, and I think we need to be out in front, possibly more than what we are. And with our chamber looking for a new director, we don't have that out there like we probably should at this particular time. So, and I don't know what everybody else's thoughts are, but I think it'd be nice to have somebody in that position. Whether it would be the right person, the right timing, those are what ifs.
It's not the way I want to go, but if you're looking at that with the chamber being maybe time, if you're going that route, time to consult the two together, possibly look at it.
And there was a slight discussion on that here several months ago.
Well,
I know it'd sure be great if we could pick up even one business with 10 employees or 3 or 4 businesses with 10. I'd rather have a few businesses, 5, 6, 8, 10 employees than with one business with 100. Seems like too often you lose that big business with 100, and then you got a major hole to fill.
as well as retaining what we got.
I tell you, the most important thing is, one of them is to retain what we already have, absolutely.
I agree.
We need to be having somebody knocking on their front doors and making sure
Communication.
that we encourage them to stay around.
Well, if we get done with the way, we can step into the executive session and talk about it a little bit more if you wish. Or
Well, I guess we need to know everybody's thoughts, which I think we somewhat know, part of it. And we got interviews set up next week and the week after on the emergency.
I'm all for retaining somebody in economic development.
We could, I guess, I hate to put things off, but we put it off to maybe the third Monday and talk about it. Or decide if we want to do the interviews again.
Look at my calendar, see when that is.
Is Wade in this morning, Don?
Yeah.
He said he'd be
He's
down
down in Short, he said.
a few.
I think economic development is not the only thing I have too. Didn't have much past that. Don?
Yeah. Looks like the only thing I have on the calendar is, Brad, you have fiber board tomorrow, and it's at noon. That's it.
Well, if you wish, you can take a break, wait for me to come. He said a few minutes, but, yeah,
Probably got caught.
yeah, that would be my guess. My little cough would be more from sheet rock dust than anything. Sometimes rub the sheet with a stick and finish sheet rock. I had any of it.
I know I mentioned when Wayne was here down in the Titus Lake. I know when I was by there, I don't know what that was, Monday or Tuesday. Last week, I was really impressed with what appeared to be Andy King cleaning up that diagonal ditch across there, which is definitely gonna be a plus for that 180 that he owns, and then of course he's got the quarter on Feather East, so. If nobody has any objections, I'll probably visit with the township board and see what their thoughts are. As dry as we are right now, it'd be great to get that, if they get involved and clean that middle ditch up, so.
There should be 3 members on that board. You said 2 while ago, but there should be 3.
Yeah, but Mr. Vic Freeman passed, I don't think.
Yeah, but they've had an election since then. Isn't, Melissa Hall on that township board now?
Yes.
Hampton, who's it?
Melissa Hall.
Lives there, a real smart place.
Can't say that I've ever met her.
Oh, I think if you see her, you'll know her.
I'll probably stand her, yeah.
Van Skillen's daughter.
I'm sorry?
Van Skillen's
The
daughter.
Lions Guild involved? Okay. I haven't known for some time,
Hospital, hospital.
haven't known for some time.
You've seen her.
So it's a Lavondale, I'm sure.
Well, we did the roundtable and back to you. Assuming you had some words of wisdom for us or something.
I don't know if I have any words of wisdom, but
Quotes?
I can always pull a quote. So what I'm about to hand you, I don't want you to take any action on this today because I want you to read it and think about it. But this is at least a motion until we can get something in the policy manual on the carryover of the vacation time. Because I think that it needs to, if there's going to be a major overhaul to the policy manual based on the compensation study, which is what it sounds like, then this would probably be the the appropriate, way to deal with this temporarily. And I think for the employees, they just need to know there's something out there that gives them, I know the board has already made the determination that the vacation time would carry over for 6 months into the next year if it's above the excess. So this just references section 8.4 of the policy manual, as well as saying that that excess time needs to be used on or before June 30th, 2021. I believe that was the date, and that's 6 months into the next calendar year. So I don't want to throw this out to you right now. Just to take it into consideration, we could address it next week. That's
Fine.
so.
Wade, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
A lot of our motions have with approval as to form.
Right.
I have been involved in board meetings all my life, and many of them had attorneys sitting there when motions are made. What's the purpose of that and the value and the reason behind it as to have with approval as to form? And maybe it's something I should already have an answer to, but I don't.
Well,
Why is it important to have those words in there?
that means it's been reviewed and vetted by the attorney, that something makes it through and hasn't been approved. So for example, when Wayne brings something through, that lets you know that it's been, trying to think of the right kind of wording.
So that's given us a message that our attorney has reviewed it and
Yeah, I
approved it.
mean, it's been vetted. You don't want to sign a contract that hasn't been reviewed for confidence. And I review a number of contracts, and I send input or feedback to different department heads where, for example, in some contracts, there's a choice of law provision where if there's a challenge or an issue with that contract, the choice of law for the contract to be challenged under is under the law of whatever that jurisdiction. Let's say it's Colorado, for example. So my opinion, if you're going to have a contract, then it should be under the law of the state where the contract is being enforced. So I'll send a note back saying I'd request of whoever the provider is that the choice of law provision be under the laws of the state of Kansas, where that contract will be interpreted, and potentially the forum being Coffee County District Court. Some of them will modify that and not make an issue of it. Some of them won't. But if you could get that, I think we're operating under the laws of the state of Kansas here, and I think that's important. Does that make sense?
It does. How important is it in like the business world, one I'm a director of for 18 years, and the attorney reviews all the motions, or I shouldn't say all, but 90% of them. And that's not in there. Is that an issue if it got to court? If something got to court?
Maybe. I don't know. It would potentially depend on what it is and how.
Yeah.
I'll give you the law school answer. It depends, because there's a lot of unknowns that we don't have there. It may be an issue, it may not.
To Don's original question with the PruWest form, I asked this question years ago. And I was told by our county attorney at the time, it has nothing to do with the subject. It is approved as to form. It is, the motion is worded the proper way. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with the subject of the motion.
Yeah, and motions are what's key to end up in the minutes. And that's what, the core of any motion that's made, and the wording, that's what ends up being memorialized. So if someone wants a copy of those minutes. So
I had a pretty good idea of what it was, but I just wanted to get clarification on it. I know I see it here quite often in the outside business world. I haven't seen it at all.
Sure.
All right, thank you.
Outside of that, if you wanna quote, that's what I have, so.
Will that be all we have for us today, though?
That will,
Could you,
Yes, sir.
I have a question for Wade, and Don kind of mentioned it earlier. We're going to be going through the draft deal. There seems to be a lot of questions and stuff by us and others.
Sure.
Will can some of that be discussed in executive session, or everything in here will be open session?
Do you have an example of something?
No, I don't right now, but
Maybe.
Well, one thing,
that was a question Don asked.
one of the questions I had, the expected cost, the original expected cost when we go into that program is projected to be around $80,000 based on where the employees will fit into the grades and the steps. And we haven't seen any documentation to back that up. And then there's another 20,000, and I don't remember exactly for that, but can we ask Lisa to provide that information so that we can verify that that is the expected new cost? But it'd be, questions such as that.
You're talking about figures that
We
are
talk about
used
dollars.
to come up with the final figures that are contained within that document.
That's correct.
I think that's probably a Lisa question from McGrath. My understanding is some of what was used and collected, and I may just be misstating it. That's why she would be the better person, but that may be work product, and I don't know if it can be turned over, but I don't know. I don't really know the answer. The accumulation and final figures are what's contained in that report. So to get it from there, I think that's a Lisa question.
Well, that part is a Lisa question. How much she'll provide to us to back up the statement she's made, I think we need clarification on.
Sure. And
The total wages program is approximately, I don't know what her total salary is gross, but you're looking at probably 35% of our total budget of the county. So, to make a change from where we're at, hopefully we're gonna be moving into something that's gonna be more positive for the county, more positive for the employees, and more positive for the whole, for the whole business. But to me, we need some absolute clarification on how she arrived at those figures. So I don't think we want to get into it and all of a sudden we find out the original cost may be 3 or 4 times that.
sure.
So, and it sounds like she's done some projection on putting employees in specific categories because she's got a lot more different categories now than what we had before, new titles. And for me to look at it, it's hard to even put some of our employees in specific positions like she's looking at.
Sure.
How much that she'll provide to us or to these,
Well,
And I can visit with her, see how far she'll take that.
so, I think that's one way to handle it, or I'm sure she would be willing to come back and answer any questions. I think there may be more questions than just the questions you have. There may be questions from employees. I'm not sure how the board wants that.
Would it be advisable to have her here the same day we meet with department heads, or?
Yeah, before you came down, we've set up a temporary time for department heads to meet with us next Monday.
Okay.
And to get their ideas, because they're as much of this project as what we own. And with working with their employees on a daily basis, probably even more so.
Or maybe wait for her the following week to get our department heads input and then.
Yeah.
And following
I
week.
might run that one question by Lisa to see what she would provide.
She's been doing this a long time, so I'm sure that the question that you have as it relates to that, there's probably a quicker answer than, that's her subject matter expertise. So I'm sure those figures that you're looking for, she can probably provide somehow. You're the accountant of the group, right?
I'm sorry?
You're the accountant of the group.
Yeah.
You've got the accounting background, so numbers are your thing. And I'm sure that she can provide you whatever information you need to make.
Well, I don't have,
make
I
sense.
dealt with it all my life, I absolutely don't have all the answers.
Sure.
But well, I think we just need some additional clarification
And I think
because of the importance of the decision.
Sure, and I think that's why it's important that instead of just going in and adopting anything, that these discussions occur, that you have time to review it, make sure you're comfortable with it, and be able to justify it to the employees, because it's important to them too, and the citizens for that matter, because it's their taxpayer dollars being used. So.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I would like to request an executive session with you and the commission as per our conversation before the weekend.
Okay. Not even remember what the subject matter was, but
If you want to step out in the hall, we can, and then come back. I don't know exactly how to word it, so.
okay. If you give me, catch my brain up to speed.
We have any more COVID numbers, any new COVID numbers?
It was,
I think I have something in correspondence.
28 current active
That was when, though.
as of November 25th.
So Wednesday.
I asked that question earlier this morning
That's all I know right now.
of the health department, and they weren't, didn't have anything yet confirmed. They were still working on it.
So we have to start, everybody will step into that position.
That's what Tom was talking about.
You just have one interview next week at 1.
I'm sorry,
You just have one interview next week at 1 o'clock?
2. One at 1, and I think the other's at 2 or 2. I'd have to look. There's two of them next Monday, and there's two of them the following Monday.
Other one should be at 2:30.
Is it?
Because we were gonna allow an hour for the interview work week and a half hour between.
I don't remember the exact time. I knew the first one was one.
Must have stepped in the cemetery.
Okay, I'm caught up to speed. So I think what the chairman is requesting a motion for the commission to recess into executive session for consultation with the county counselor to provide legal advice regarding county policy in reference to the implications of House Bill 2016 on the county, those matters being privileged under the attorney-client relationship exception to Kansas Open Meetings Act under KSA 7543-19B2.
How long are you looking at?
20 minutes.
Also moved.
All second.
All moved, Tim has seconded, all in favor? We go in at 10:10. Come out at 10:30.
Take a break on the way.
Yes, I gave you enough time. to
Give us about 2 minutes.
They brought with the mask on.
I know.
So would be.
Oh, I gotta get back to the item. I went last week, and a close-up contract and one part.
All messed up about that.
I really see. I thought it was just adjustment, you know, getting used to it.
I didn't submit anything to send out to Dr. Shea.
So. Uncle used to smoke there. Breakfast night? Supper on it, Friday night, and breakfast Saturday. I took that brisket that we got the same day, and I finally, well, I told you, we probably smoked them around the same time, I think, is what we talked about. I took the leftovers and chopped it up nice, put it on one side. Did peppers, mixed vegetables, and other something. Put my rice in the middle, and got my frozen eggs in the middle of that, and mixed it. Oh, and then in the air fryers down there, they did wontons and spring rolls. No spring rolls, they were refrigerated, cuties. You put them in that air fryer, you couldn't tell the difference. They were just like they were fresh out of the roll. But you gotta remember to turn the face. It's just something like that. And like I said, 2 times. And the other ones, I said, they were done at 10. Awesome. I mean, it's usually like, it's not like the fans and like broken heat. I think that's so much better now. It was due February this year. The only place you can find it is Walmart. I walked out of Walmart like paying $1,000. Between the gear and the charger, sensors, and not quite half a carton, just extra stuff. My wife. This one has a.
I know.
Oh, thank you.
This was also done. Okay, thanks. Oh, I got yours.
It's usually an hour and a half for breakfast, and last, and it's always cold. I did that whole thing of bacon, 2 pounds of bacon, a whole loaf of Texas toast bread, all cooking at once.
And I like it says, you know, they're gonna be the hot spots, so it's fine. So I found the cold spot, at least when the wind's out of the north. Just chase by survey and run. No, I don't. I like it when you drop it on the grill, it breaks into there. I like it. Yeah. Nicholas, you won't eat bacon because it's fat. Unless it's like a ruler, you just flatten it out, make it like a ruler. And eat it. You don't even notice the fat. I have not. But I've had some, I've had Doug's burn-ins. Oh man. There, that's brisket. It's brisket. I did do some once, but I had let my bacon set almost a year. Well, I think for, doesn't matter, you probably brings me bacon for Christmas. Oh, no, last year. Whatever, I think I'm bacon, it was slack. That's what they do. I don't know if you did this, and then I finally looked it up. But by the time I looked it up, it was already sour. But I cooked it that way anyway, just to see what it was like when it was done. It tasted sour. I didn't eat full piece, I mean, it's, but the texture and everything was good. And I didn't do the picture, I did the children. I said, "Look, I'm gonna do that now." It's, I covered every night. I won't. Because I'm gonna ask her. She said, she's not gonna leave it up there for like 7 o'clock at night. And I looked at it, goes, it's like 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I barely had time to get the hot dog and the mom's done. And it was like, and it was still going on out the wind last night. And I'm outside. Look at that thing. Yeah. Because I'm working on it, so I'm ready to approach it. That's the next try to see. It does get kind of weird when I'm first starting off the smoker.
I agree with you.
It does. Right.
It's all, like, you know, the house was on fire.
Yeah. When you tell people they'll say what you're doing, which is becoming very. I really have this standard with a line, and I thought, okay. I mean, burgers will still take it away, but I got it. Yeah, I like to roll with it. With the red one. That's the only reason I'm on here, I got red. That's the only one. Baseball. Hey, but hey. You grab it with the paper, you get $25 out. You take it 30 times over, you get $25. So you have to pay $50. And, I go in the office and I do. I used to look at it, but I never thought about, go to I take it off the truck, you have to go around down. So he keeps it on the street. I'm not mad at that. I'm mad at on the down. But because he got fuel. And I didn't know. See if it's gonna migrate, which they're putting concrete in this, there's hole unless it's packed. You don't have to pack it. Oh, wow. Or two. I don't know, did they take things out? I'm sure I don't. Well, I think. I could. But the other one. Across the street, top of the, used to be, service station. I really don't think it- all I remember is very. Right, but when they were, I used to sort of start.
I'm confused. You need that.
Because we go. Oh, it's the trash. Always. But there's a. We get what the county is now.
Yeah.
They're very happy.
Maybe up down, okay, when we get done, do you want to come up and have it?
Sure. And that's what you're saying.
Yeah. And then my, here's I don't have to call you.
Right.
Just because of the duties.
Right.
Hey, Dawn. Dawn. Lisa sent this to me while you guys, because she's watching.
I heard she was.
You have to do, you have a signal to Dawn's question.
Morning.
I can provide the implementation spreadsheet, which is where the figures come from for training and pay. The reason I did it is because we may have to go
Wait
to a
for
different
Fred,
direction with
the rest.
implementation.
Catch up.
They also have
We were just kind of wanting maybe an update on what we said.
Sure.
Let's see, email me. If she wants to, I was gonna call her anyway, but if I had that, I mean, because of the importance of it, dollar value, we need to have that detail.
That's when you come down and give us a little update on what he's saying.
Sure, so as far as, health officer, medical director, at this point, I don't have any new information. I have had no new leads, no new answers. But I am hoping to work with you guys today to see if I can assist you in sending out messaging on that so that the contacts are coming from you. So it doesn't look like I'm pushing any agenda or anything like that. So if that's acceptable, I would prefer that method. Okay, thank
For
you.
me, anyway.
Who represents the board or the commission on making that contact? You know, we don't, all five of us wanna go making all the calls and making all the contacts.
Well, I just assume we have an assistant that can make some calls for us and then we approve or disapprove past that, I assume.
And I can provide everything I provided last week,
Okay.
if that's accessible.
'Cause I don't think all five of us wanna get involved.
Yeah, understood. But as far as cases go, I have some great news that since last Wednesday, we've had 17 recoveries. So that's amazing. Our active case count right now is 24. So
Since last week.
yeah, so we did get some new cases over the holiday. I believe all of our staff worked through that time and we did get those done. I did order 4 new cell phones on Wednesday from emergency management because we've again arranged how we're doing this, and each person is taking stuff to call from home, and it just makes it easier if we have cell phones to do that. So, but we're still trucking, we're still going on like we always have. I worked a little bit with KDHE this morning on some logistics for one of our programs. We have some females who will be needing their services this week due to timing. And I'm working with KDHE on that and what we can and cannot do. And we might have some avenues for some short-term solving of that. So we just want to make sure everything's legal and legitimate and we're not doing anything we're not supposed to be doing. So we're covering all of that, and we might be able to get those ladies served in a way that works. Other than that, I don't have much else. So I can say we will expect a spike from Thanksgiving. That is to be expected. So in the next 2 weeks,
we will see the fallout of bringing people together from different households in different communities, different states. We are likely to see that, so we should not be surprised when that happens. So we're prepared for that. Right now, it's kind of working in our favor that we can't serve the public because we are able to focus on COVID. So, but that's where we're at right now.
Lindsay, how do you propose that if we are doing the contact and investigating of getting a replacement to take Dr. Shell's place, how do you propose we answer the questions of any prospect? When you have the working relationship with that person?
You can absolutely send them to me for questions, but I feel like the finding of them and of course, the final decision, I'll rest with you guys. I don't want it to appear that I am trying to push any certain person for whatever reason. I'm being accused of that from the public, and that's not the perception I want. I just want to be able to get back to business as soon as possible. And there are physicians that have served in our clinic who have come in and actually performed services for us over the past several years. So to me, they came to mind first. They've done this service. They know how we operate. They refer people to us. So felt like that was a natural place to start. But I don't, again, want to appear that I have any agenda or anything. I'm just trying to get back to business as quick as possible.
But you've had people approach you asking why you're the point person on doing the discovery for us?
No, I'm being told that I now can get what I want, whatever that may be. So now that Dr. Shell's gone, I can do whatever I want. And I think you guys all know that's not how I am or how I operate. I'm just trying to use science and common sense. And I mean, we're telling people to wear masks. We're just not mandating it. We're telling people to do the same things that the public is upset about. But I mean, our order even says specifically, wash your hands, stay when you're sick, wear a mask. It just didn't mandate it. So
it just appears that we're being put into a position of the middleman. And when eventually they have to come back to you anyway to discuss what is required. And that's my only point that I'm making, that I just still feel like it should be from your department, if not you, someone else that you designate.
I don't mind doing it, and I told you guys, I mean, I asked you last week and that's what you wanted, but since then, there have been some pretty nasty letters and comments written towards me, and that just makes it feel, I don't want this to be political, and I want to take whatever politics out of it that appears to be there to some people. So, but I will do as the board wishes. I will do whatever it is that you like.
Anybody else wish to weigh in on Fred's comment?
Well, I just like Fred, Lindsay's the one's got to have all the answers to respond to the people that we're looking at. And to me, Lindsay ought to be our point person. And I know she's got a full plate on her table. I fully understand that. I wouldn't be qualified to go out and do the research and do the discovery. And to me, you're still the one that ought to be that point person for us. You do a high quality job in your office, and highly respected, and I'm not sure how anybody ought to be coming back on you as negative. That bothers the heck out of me. I haven't heard nothing. I haven't heard nothing negative about your office and performance and everything.
Anybody else? Weigh in on Fred's comment. So what do you prefer? Do you prefer Lindsay to head?
Is she comfortable doing it?
I am.
I realize the pressure's on you and all the comments, but
I don't mind. I can handle it. I really don't mind. I started to type up the email last Wednesday and it just felt yucky with the letter I just received, and so I just was trying to put forth a solution that would make it look less like I'm trying to push an agenda. So, because I truly am not.
Well, I think the commission's getting criticized too, so.
That's,
one way or the other.
Um,
And I agree with Fred. We've had some comments, some of them, you ignore them because you know how they come, but I think it's sad that there are people out there who are just jumping on board and actually degrading your department when they really don't know the issue. So my suggestion to you is do your job and don't worry about those kind of people. Because if something comes up, they're gonna be the first ones that's gonna want your help, so. But I think you're doing a great job, your department's doing great, so hang in there.
thanks for time.
And we, in the end, it's our decision anyway, it could be a recommendation from you, but we don't have how to go out and find those people. Thank you.
Sounds like the majority wishes you
Okay,
proceed, if you will, please.
okay, I will. Anything else?
I just had, you were talking about the cell phone, so I think that this is probably a good time to bring up. And I know I mentioned, or I asked you, I don't know, several weeks ago, when somebody is on call in the health department related to COVID, what is the frequency when somebody is off hours that phone is utilized? And I know, if I recall, it was in a week period, you have staff members who are on for a week, and at least 3 days a week they're contacted and they have to utilize, they're called in to deal with a COVID issue. So maybe you can.
It's a little different now. So what we have done in order to keep one person from working 5 hours every weekend day and evening. So now I have my stack of charts and they're mine now. And so I follow those same people through their recovery. And then each staff person does the same. It still falls on one nurse and one clerk to be on call for the new cases during that time. So, to answer about the phones, they will probably all be utilized regularly now. It changes it doing it this way, but it spreads it out to be a little more manageable, but then nobody ever gets a day off unless they hand over everything to someone else so they can be out of town. I don't know, is there anything else to add to that? Or?
I can say when I use cell phone, I used it this weekend for work. And once I made all my contacts, put it away, used my personal cell phone for my personal things. So if that's where you're going is for personal stuff for our cell phone, I don't think that's ever a issue.
No.
I don't know how often, no.
It's not the personal use, it's the time that you're devoting to tracking COVID that is outside of the regular working hours.
Right.
So if there's a call that comes in and there's a COVID case, the time that, you're an 8 to 5 office. So outside of those hours, how often are your employees being utilized in that capacity?
It's now every day. It's now, we work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And during those hours, I worked probably 2 to 2.5 hours each day.
So when you hear your department is getting 40 cell phones, that is the context that goes with it, I think is important. And this is the contact tracing. Is that the correct terminology for it, or is that something different?
So the nurse and the clerk are the case investigators and the contact tracers. And then there are the positives who are symptomatic. We're contacting them every day to see how their disease is progressing or they're recovering. We're just really looking for recovery dates and then getting them into medical care as quickly as needed and getting them supplies as quickly as needed. We're delivering. We have pulse oximeters we've purchased with some of the grant money that tells you what your oxygen levels are. So people who have underlying health issues or or underlying lung issues, or if COVID has appeared to be attacking their lungs, we provide that to them, we deliver it to them, or we utilize the sheriff's office to assist us with that delivery. It's a quick check. It just tells them what their oxygen levels are running at, and it's a useful tool to know when they need to seek health care. So we're trying to be as proactive as we can with getting them to care as quickly as possible. So, it's the only tool really to know how well your lungs are doing without going into the hospital. I don't know if I've answered your question or not, but it is, we got cases every day, Thursday through Sunday during this break. So.
It's labor intensive.
Can be.
Anyone else have a question for Lindsay?
Thanks, Lindsay.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks
guys.
for the update.
Yep, thank you.
Got something else for us, Woody?
I was gonna give you the quote, but I also want to mention the resolution that was passed last Tuesday during the special session by the commission, resolution 850.
We all thought it was.
863. It is reviewed the way it's set up every 2 weeks. Then the next time it will be reviewed is on December 7th, which will be next Monday.
Yes.
And every 2 weeks thereafter. So I think it's set up that way so the board can take into consideration what's going on locally and address whatever issues that may be present with the county. The governor's order that mandates the certain things statewide, I think for the most part, the board's resolution addresses those same topics. It just makes those as recommendations for each and every citizen in Coffee County. As we talked about before, it's a highly politicized issue, controversial. Either way the board decides. It was even not controversial. I mean, there was even division amongst the board members in a 3-2 vote. So that's just the environment we're in. And I'm also aware there's criticism from the public, and that's just, I think, part of what happens when you have to make a decision that not everybody agrees with, and that's why each of you are put in the seat you're in to make those decisions what you feel is right and best under the circumstances, and not everybody agrees. As a prosecutor, I had to make similar decisions just in a different way. And those decisions, everybody doesn't always agree with. And I mean, I don't know how you make everybody happy, because if you make everybody happy, then there's probably something wrong. That's just the way it goes. So with that being said, there's a quote I have from Woodrow Wilson on judgment. One cool judgment is worth 1,000 hasty counsels. The thing to do is supply light and not heat. At any rate, if it is heat, it ought to be white heat and not sputter, because sputtering is apt to spread fire. There ought, if there is any kind of heat at all, to be that warmth of the heart which makes every man thrust aside his own personal feeling, his own personal interest, and take thought of the welfare and benefit of others. Woodrow Wilson, I don't know when that, but it's a quote from Woodrow Wilson. So, and on that note, that's really all I have, unless you have questions for me.
Don't look like it, thank you. Anyone have anything else to add? I guess I would, like to say, echoing Wade a minute ago, is that we're not telling anybody not to wear a mask. We're actually recommending that you do. We're just not enforcing it. I think it's, like I said, it's controversial, very controversial to have or to not do. I'd like to suggest everybody wear a mask and do their part. Keep your social distancing, keep your hygiene. Just do your part, and we'll review it next week. That being said, if anybody's got anything else, if not, we'll adjourn at 10:51.
Basically,